So Scott, I'm going to run through the programming of this part real quick. When we go into it and we sequence it the way we did manually, doing the outside in counterclockwise, we know these are going to collide, and like you said, you'd scribe them or something to help you do that, and this would work here. It would cause the collision, creating a second tool setup without any punch or die, and it only works for these two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to create those two left and right tool setups using that punch and that die. I click off in space so that nothing's highlighted, and I click here, and I say 600 because that's how long I need, but it comes in as 835 because that's the next tooling option. I'm going to hold the Alt button and click here, and I'm going to put 0 in that position, and then I'm going to click it again. I'm going to add again. Here's this tool, and once again I'm going to hold Alt and click and put it at 4100. Okay, click off in space, so none of this is blue, none of these are highlighted. Click off in space and I make this blue. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add it, and because I already have punches there, I can just align them. Click off in space, click the die, add it again, move over here, snap and align. Okay. Now to associate this tooling, because right now it's not associated to anything because we deleted their setup, I hold Control, or I click on it and I say bend setup number 1, and it snaps over here, and I'll use this feature to align it. Or I can align it using out here, this feature, and go to bend number 12, and I'll snap that somewhere over here, somewhere a little outside so it clears. And remember, you can have the bend overview open this whole time to tell me if I create a collision. It looks like that. If I'm just outside of the bend area, that's when I get that. So I mean, you'd obviously judge that on the brake, how closely you could get that, and hopefully if we get the ear tool in there, you can get it right up inside there. But even still, you'd have to shut off the clamp, you'd have to manipulate that. But then bend number 11, moving to number 11, I do the same thing. I have to associate bend number 11 with that tool setup, and yes, I could use the position part feature here to kind of grab it and tell it to move it over here. And you could do it out here too. Because I'm not on the web, I can turn on my clamps and they're not quite so heavy, and I can actually see, okay, maybe I want to shut that clamp off. I hold Control, or I can shift it. But even then, you'd probably still have to move it out a bit so it clears the top. Okay. And then, like we were saying, we can save this tool setup with a name. So that if we don't really like this setup, we want to, instead of scribing these, we want to split the bend lines. We can do that. We can split the bend lines here with the advanced option, and maybe give it like 15 degrees or something. And then when I auto tool it, do the same thing, manual sequence. It's just this time I'll bend up these partially, then to bend up my center, and then close it out. And when I auto tool it, instead of having it come up with its own option, I'll say use that one and don't make anything new.